Hey everyone, welcome to Greenlane Offroad. My name's Donovan, and today we're going to be installing our brand new aluminum stump bumper on this 4th gen Toyota Tacoma. We're going to start by removing the whole front plastic fascia grille bumper. We'll start by removing this plastic cover and the airbox ducting by removing these little push clips. Push down in the center and just give them a little pry to remove. Next, using a 10mm socket, we're going to remove these 3 bolts. Next, we're going to remove the bolts along the front edge of the bumper. There are 2 in the middle, 2 on the side, and 1 back inside the fender well. Next, we're going to remove these 2 clips to free the inner fender well. By using a flathead screwdriver and turning them 90 degrees, you should be able to just pry them out. Next, we're going to peel back the inner fender liner to expose the clip at the bottom and this red clip up top, which holds the fender flare to the fender. After the inner fender well is pulled away, it exposes 2 more 10mm head bolts on either side of the bumper cover. After the fender flare is pulled away, it exposes 1 Phillips head screw that needs to be removed before we take the bumper cover off. Next, we're going to remove the 3 electrical fittings located on the passenger side of the grille. Next, we're going to unclip the front bumper cover by pulling outwards on either side and then lifting the whole cover off to the front of the truck. If your truck is equipped with the front sensors, you'll have 1 more wire to disconnect located on the driver's side of the grille. Next, we're going to remove the factory crossbar by removing 8 17mm head bolts. 2 located here, 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here. Save these bolts because they'll be reused in the installation of the stump bumper. Next, we're going to remove this plastic shroud that's held on by 9 plastic clips. Pry up the center of the clip and then you can just pop it out. Next, we're going to install the supplied 3/16 spacer to the front of the frame rail, followed by the steel bumper mounting bracket. We'll reuse the factory bolts in the 2 threaded holes. We'll reuse 3 of the bolts we removed from the factory crossbar with the supplied nuts for the other 3 remaining holes. Just snug these bolts up so that the bracket is still adjustable on the mounts. We're going to take 2 more bolts from the crash bar to reuse on our installation of the new Stump bumper. Repeat the same procedure for the other side. If you're installing a winch in your Stump bumper, now's the time to bolt it into the bumper itself. You might have to modify this front cross member to make room for the winch's control box. Next, we're going to get the front bumper cover trimmed up. We're going to start by removing these Phillips head screws and these 2 in the corners. Next, we're going to remove these 5 Phillips head screws, but we will be reinstalling those after we remove this lower plastic bumper cover. Next, we'll unclip this front lower bumper cover. After the bumper cover is removed, we'll replace the 5 Phillips head screws that we removed earlier. For trimming the front of the bumper, we're going to follow this ridge right here and then along the bottom of the square holes for the tabs from the bumper front. Don't come charged. In order to make room for this particular winch, we've opted to completely remove this bumper support bracket. Next, we're going to lift the bumper into place and secure it with 4 of the supplied 12 grade 8 bolts. Next, we'll install the remaining 3/8 bolts, but we'll leave everything loose so we have adjustability up and down, in and out, and left and right. If you are installing a winch, now is a good time to run the wires up into the engine bay before we put the front bumper cover back on. Next, we're going to replace all the hardware that hold on the front bumper cover in the opposite order of the way we took it off. We'll reconnect the electrical connectors. 3 on the passenger side. And the optional sensor on the driver's side. Now we can adjust the bumper forward and backwards, up and down, and left and right, and tighten down the 6 bolts on either side, followed by the bolts holding on the steel mounting brackets to the frame. Lastly, we'll reinstall the engine plastics. And that's the installation complete.